right. This is Mary Cole with Good Story Company. This is my final day of 14 days of creativity and productivity tips for writers. I thought we would be in a little bit of a different place on day 14, but for us in Minnesota, for example, we've started on Friday sheltering in place. So we are not quite cat alert. We are not quite at the end of things as I had originally envisioned when I concepted this live, and that's okay. It'll be what it has to be. Sorry, I'm trying to sort of block the ugly fan. Um, Now we did reach the end of our series, though, our 14 days, and I want to sort of end on a note of probably the toughest tip that I have to give. It is a personal one and not really a productivity or creativity tip. Also, I wash my hair. It's the small victories. This is Luna Fish, the tuna fish. The cat's name is Luna. We have never called her Luna once, I don't think. It's always fish, tuna fish, Luna fish, Luna fish, the tuna fish, of course. Anyway, so she's part of the video, but this is a personal tip. So we've, I think, all gone through our ups and downs these last 2 weeks emotionally and maybe physically, hearing from loved ones across the country, friends, family, all of that. Uh, it's been really tough, and I think one of the things that I struggle with the most personally is taking some time to be grateful. And I'm from California, so I can say this stuff with a relatively straight face. But I do think that cultivating a gratitude practice, especially in times right now, is probably the toughest thing that I could ask you to do, the toughest thing that I'm asking myself to do. Um, my stepdad, Jamie, had a massive stroke November 1st and completely lost all of his language, lost function on the right side of his body. He happened to be in New York City when he had his stroke. Him and my mom have a weird thing going on where they spend their time half in California, half in New York. You know, it's nice work if you can get it. It worked for them, and so every couple of weeks, Jamie would trot off to his hometown of New York City and do whatever puttering he liked to do. He loved to just putter, be in his neighborhood, and he happened to have a stroke out on the street, which is a miracle. And he was somebody called called for help. He was taken to Bellevue Hospital, which now we know, of course, from the news as one of the epicenters of COVID-19. And he went to a nursing home on Long Island. Nassau County, as we know, is one of the new epicenters of COVID-19. I have been hearing all weekend that basically residents in the nursing facility where Jamie is sort of doing therapy have been dying. Um, so that is very unfortunate. My mom, the nursing facility banned all visitors. My mom had to go back to California, and she can't be there. Uh, People, nurses, doctors are leaving the facility because I think 3 or 4 residents now have passed away from COVID-19, and they don't want to be at work. They don't want to be at work where they can get infected, bring infection back to their families. I fear that Jamie will pass away there and be alone and not see my mom again. And it's very, very tough to think about that before his stroke, he was just puttering around his neighborhood. And now, honestly, because his cognition was so affected, we don't really know what he understands, how much he understands about what's going on to him, what's going on in the world. And so it's very, very tough for me to think about. He's a vulnerable, lifelong smoker, unfortunately, hence the stroke. Not a great candidate for a respiratory viral illness that is spreading like wildfire through the other people in his nursing home, which are also part of a very vulnerable population. And so it's really, really tough for me to sit here and think about what he might be going through, how he might be feeling, how my mom is feeling, knowing she's half a country away and couldn't go there if she wanted to. Um, and so it's been a tough weekend. Hearing the news, it seems like fatalities are racking up over there, and isolating the patients in their rooms can only do so much. So, as I deal with that on the one hand, and my kids at home voluntarily on the other, our daycare is still operating, but we chose to pull them out, just because I really do think that our job for the next foreseeable future is to not die. And if we can manage to do that, I think everything else is possible from there. And so we decided not to expose our kids unnecessarily at daycare. So as tough as it can be to sit and try to work and try to concentrate and try to live my life and have some me time and all of this stuff that I was used to until about 3 weeks ago. Um, I have really been struggling personally to just say, you know what? Honestly, it could be a lot worse. I could be alone in a nursing facility like Jamie is, or I could be in a hospital, or somebody with an immunocompromised health issue. And I don't know. My husband and I have been looking at one another these last couple of weeks and just saying, we love our house. We love our house. We're so lucky to have this house. It's a wonderful house to quarantine in, which was not, believe it or not, on the listing um, when we bought it. Quarantine potential was not a selling point, but we've built our dream house over the last couple of years. We did a huge renovation, and so now it's like, you know what? I have a pretty great place to ride this out. And I'm not saying that to brag about my house or anything like that, but I'm able to work up here. We have a main floor and a basement. The kids are able to play in the basement, and it's quiet. That's a wonderful thing. My body works, and so far is healthy. That's a wonderful thing. Everybody that I care about deeply that is in this house today is healthy. Um, at the end of the day, that's kind of all that's all I could hope for. And I know I've kind of bounced back and forth in terms of like, you should be creative, you should be productive, use this time, knock it out of the park. And I have been doing that some days, but I think just at the end of the day, this is a tough time. It's a tough time. We're all doing the best we can. We are all working with incomplete information or information that keeps changing. And so all we can do is breathe deeply, remind ourselves that our lungs still work, and really try to be grateful for the things that are going well. And that may not be a lot. That may not be a lot at all right now. But that's kind of the tip. And one of the things that I've done on and off, I get so busy. So for the Good Story podcast, I have been talking to people about every month or so. We release a new video, and one of my first interview was with Chris Beatty in November. He's the founder of NaNoWriMo, and we talked about this cult of busyness and how people have been busier and busier than ever, and everything just keeps snowballing, and all of this stuff, and how it can really be an excuse or a crutch, or it can really stop us from just being ourselves and existing in the moment and trying to be present in all of these things that tend to be neglected with smartphones and work and kids and play and creativity and all of this other stuff that we all try to achieve all the time. And so it's like I'm definitely a victim of my own busyness and of my urge to be busy. So I've really been trying to take more time, be more present, and also try to be grateful. So on and off, I've done. My first tip for you, I don't have it handy because my baby pulled it down. Ooh, yuck. Ugh. Not grateful for my pores. Sorry. So my very first tip to you guys was to get a journal. And start writing in it, because writing in a journal and writing, the physical act of writing, is very, very different. Yesterday I talked about kind of the digital clutter that we all have in our writing environments, which are computers a lot of the time. So my very first tip, this is kind of like bringing it all first full circle, was to keep a journal, because it kind of jogs different things in you. And I find that I'm able to be more personal and more vulnerable in when I'm writing by hand than I am when I'm just, typing away. And so I would love to see you, if you are able or you feel so inclined, to do a little gratitude journaling or talk about what you're grateful for at the table. That's something that we do. My son is 4, and so it's kind of like I'm grateful for farts, and Super Wings, which he watches a lot of, or Daniel Tiger. So it doesn't really work that well, but it's something that we're implementing as a family. So talk to your loved ones that you are locked in with right now, or do a little journaling about things you're grateful for, because I really do think that we need a little bit more. At least I do. Sorry if I'm projecting. We need a little bit more of that right now, and things are pretty bad for certain people in certain populations. I'm just honestly, I'm waiting to hear that we've lost Jamie, because it's a very real possibility for us right now. So while I'm here, and while I'm still ticking, I want to make sure that sorry, I want to make sure that I can appreciate it as much as possible. And this is not to blame or shame you. If you're having a tough time seeing the positive, watch my video from Monday for a prime example of somebody who just couldn't deal with it, couldn't see anything good about the situation. But I do think that there's a lot of wonderful stuff to be had in life still. And creativity is one of the most essential human things that we can bring to a tragedy like this. So I hope that, what a mess. What a mess. um, I hope that in this time you can just be kind to yourself, be kind to others, let your light shine. And don't beat yourself up. Don't beat yourself up if your light isn't shining today. But that's kind of really all I got for you. I've sort of poured out a lot over the last 2 weeks. I hope some of it was fruitful. I hope none of it was terrifying, although I feel a little bit terrifying right now. And thank you. Thank you for the bottom of my heart. One of the things I really am grateful for is that I have built a career over the last 10 years where I get to work one-on-one with writers, and also kind of in this more one-to-many format, as I do with these videos. And it's kept me going. It is my passion. It is my absolute joy. And thank you again for giving me your ears and your hearts and your manuscripts over time. And just your kind attention and your valuable time. And I hope we all make it out of this. And when we do, I will be here. Probably not going live every day. That is grueling, I gotta tell you. There are I'm doing a lot with marketing right now for reasons that will be revealed. There are people that say you should go live every day. What a nightmare. That has definitely been a fun experiment for me. But anyway, from me to you, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Stay safe and sane out there. And here's to a good story. This has been Mary Cole with Good Story Company. Thanks for listening. Bye.